John Farmer,
Here.
Dr. Ortiz,
Here.
Barry Parker,
Here.
Don Lee,
Here.
Gail Logan is also here from Community, and our attorney Jacob Hensler is also present.
Yeah, we'll let it notice on the meeting.
Yes. It was posted on the board over 48 hours prior to the notice to the meeting.
And it was on Channel 6.
John, I have an issue with the posting of the notice. According to 703 sub 2, it's supposed to, the board out here is not in a conspicuous place. You can't see it from the road, you can't see it from the sidewalk, and the TV channel only works for everybody but me. I don't get it. So it's not posted in a conspicuous place. We didn't get a TV channel. I didn't get 7 days written notice as specified by 720-303-2C. And so I'm not going to contest the meeting, but I'm going to say, can we do something about that and post the meetings like we did before, outside, at the front gate and the back gate on signs?
If you would like to be in charge of putting the signs out,
We'll take it under advisement. Right.
Okay.
I'll talk to the other board members.
All right, and then, you know, and in the future, if we can change this thing to the front gate and the back gate, we know that we have a sign restriction. However, we use signs. So it would make sense for us to have signs out front and back by the back gate because that's where you stop when the gate's open and you can read it. And 90% of the associations that I'm familiar with use that kind of signage.
All right. We'll take it under advisement.
Thank you.
I'll talk to the other board members. Right. No problem.
I'd be happy to put the signs out for meetings that we like. Seeing I'm up here quite a bit, and I can get the signs.
Thank you. All right.
thank you. Once again, step forward. Thank you.
We'll put them out.
Thank you, John. That, you know, that's also goes for the art committee and any meeting to where we're doing business, where money's being spent,
They do their signs.
or being allocated, or being discussed. Okay? So I guess there'd be two places. One of them would be the art committee, and the other one would be the grounds committee, because that's where all this stuff happens.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next item is the approval of the minutes from the July.
I make a motion that we approve the board minutes for the meeting of July 19th, 2014, and September 26th, 2014.
I second the motion. If I may? Well, I just wanted clarification on what approval of the minutes actually mean.
The minutes were written up and documented.
Because I've never seen the minutes. They've never been sent to
Well, they're
anybody
not
or
published until
available.
they're approved.
Beg your pardon?
They're not published until they're approved.
And then they're,
That's what I want to know.
and then they're available if you want to get a copy of them.
Yes, they will be, and they're not available until we approve them.
Okay.
Just so you know, that's why you haven't seen them.
That's what I
All right,
I have a motion on the table in a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last comment. Can, Mr. Ensor, a reasonable time is maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the meeting, and they can be published at that point and say, these have not been approved and are subject to change, but we would like to see them prior to the next meeting, because how do we know that they're any good? They're not being read. We don't see them for 3 or 4 months. You know, I believe that it's quite feasible and it's quite easy to do. We have a website. They can be noted as being preliminary, but we should have access to the minutes long before 3 months. Do you agree with me?
I don't disagree or agree.
The motion on the table is to approve the minutes. And Dr. Orley is seconded. All in favor?
right.
Aye.
I'm not going to avoid you, and your comment is reasonable. Okay?
I'm sorry?
The comment is reasonable, and we'll make sure, we'll do everything we can to ensure that they are available within 3 weeks of a meeting,
Thank you very much.
okay? That's not difficult.
Okay?
But keep in mind, we're volunteers.
I understand
Our
that.
life is not spent 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, working on the board. We have lives. and we
No,
have
that's what the property manager's for.
Well, maybe it has to be recorded.
Excuse me, I don't do this 8 hours a day for the Vineyards either,
No,
just so you know.
but we'll do it within a reasonable amount of time. You say
Thank you
3 weeks,
very much.
that's an easy thing to do.
That's very easy.
Okay?
Thank you.
Right, watermark,
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right?
Yeah.
Please make a note of that, Gail.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on. This is a beautiful Saturday morning. The president's report, it's listed here, and I really don't have much in the way of reporting other than the fact that I think that the board and the volunteers that have been tirelessly working to bring the standards up to where they were previous years, they have done an outstanding job. An outstanding job. The committees are working hard to ensure that this Vineyard property is a premier community, and I think it is. All you have to do is drive around and take a look. And I think that the volunteers of the committees deserve a round of applause. For the work they've done, I want to thank them personally. Again, thank you all very much for the tireless work that you're doing. And it's thankless work that you're doing.
Thank
It's appreciated by the board. Thank you. Okay, next item up with Don is the treasurer's report.
Yeah, treasurer's report, through third quarter of this year, we are running slightly under budget. I anticipate no outstanding items that will take us over budget for the year. We should be quite fine for the fourth quarter. The other item that we've done in the last quarter is we inspected 4 more homes, which is good. We either had 4 resales or a combination of resales and rentals. Like I say, we're slightly under budget at this point. And we should be fine for the year. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you did, on the reserve study that you guys talked about at the last meeting, we got into a discussion about whether we should go with fixed budget, fixed reserves or variables. This is an article that Jan Berman, who's one of the main people up in Tallahassee as a lobbyist, and the whole point that he makes is that the reserves become a slush fund if you don't assign them. I'm not in favor of a slush fund. I am in favor of maybe pulling a couple of the fixed ones out, but the main ones, the roads and the clubhouse and the pool, should definitely be held separate and should never be able to be touched except for those items. You guys are honorable, but we don't know the next guy. And we're talking about a lot of money here, and this is one of the main things that's happened in the past to pull money out. But we don't want to see that.
Okay, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, John, I believe at our last meeting, we approved the total for 2015.
I'm sorry?
It was approved to pool the
I believe it wasn't approved according to the video I had.
No, is that approved?
Doesn't it have to come up for vote? I have the minutes, let me go. I believe it was approved, but let me read what,
Well, you made motions, you voted on the motions, and then you approved it through your motions.
I thought that was held off until until a membership
Saying
meeting.
is that he just indicated his preference for the type of reserves. So I
Right.
think the board can take that under advisement and
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry?
I said, we'll take this under advisement, I will definitely read over this.
If you have any more questions, I have a lot of information on reserves about this kind of thing. I have a lot of information about it.
John, that's your opinion, okay?
I'm sorry, sir?
That's your opinion, right? And some fellow's opinion. Yet the people, the experts that did the reserve study, recommended going the other way, like most communities are doing today. So, we'll take care of the comment and advisement, but please be aware that we're being told by these experts that this is what we should do.
John, I read the reserve study
And
and
we
didn't
can't always
see it in there.
assume that people are gonna steal money. Don't always assume that. People, we're not here, we're a bunch of professionals. All of us. Yes.
Hi, John. I have one question. Does that pooling, does that have to be voted on in the annual meeting because the covenants already has designated?
no, I think you're talking about reserves that already started, yeah. But I can't give you a legal opinion to you.
The
Sorry.
reserves that are already started are gonna remain there.
Yeah, they're not moving.
They're not moving that money.
we're not allowed to move that.
Right, because of the...
Legally, we
In
cannot.
the future,
Whether,
we're going to pool it, and that'll be a separate rate.
And
And that doesn't have to, no, the board voted on it, but that doesn't have to go in front of
No.
the membership at all for voting.
What has to go in front of the membership, if we wanted to take the money out of restricted reserves,
Oh, okay.
the money that's in there. Say there's $20 in there, 5 in this, 5 in this, 5 in this, 5 in this. If we wanted to remove that money that's already there and put it in pooled reserves, we would have to go before the entire community, and I believe we would have to have, is it 75% vote?
Yes.
That's how, we cannot take that money in restricted reserves. That's only to be used for those items.
Right, that I understand, but the way it's funded doesn't come under a vote by the membership?
not the way they're talking about doing it in the future.
It doesn't?
No,
Okay,
no.
so I just wanted that clarified, thank you.
All right.
John?
I just have
We've
one.
already had your 3
Okay,
minutes,
one
John.
quick-
We've already had your 3 minutes on that one. Okay, Rick?
Okay. As I understand it, we are no longer going to put money in the fixed reserves at all. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So we're not going to finish funding out the fixed reserves. That's correct?
No.
At
We're
all?
not- we're
So
not gonna-
the six...
John, this is my report. Look at me when you ask questions, okay?
Okay, sorry.
Now,
Done.
the amount of money going into the reserve account is going to be increased January 1, 2015. Instead of individually breaking out each reserve item, it will be pooled from January 1 forward. Anything that's existing in there now will stay in there until spent.
So we're only going to partially reserve like the roads and the...
No, sir. No, sir. The portion that would be for the reserve, for the roads, will now be pooled and it'll be part of a pooling of resources. And say 20% of that would be roads, 10% of that would be clubhouse, and so on and so forth.
Don, what happens when we spend out, let's say, all the roads and there's zero in there? Does that fall out of the reserve, that line item?
In any case, if we spend out and we run out of reserves,
No, the line item. You know, you were saying...
The restricted.
Yeah.
Right, the restricted reserve.
right.
Once that's
when that's spent
completely
out,
completed,
that line item will go away.
the line item goes away completely.
Right. But theoretically, it's still part of the pool.
So how do we know what is in the pool? Is that going to be, like, in other words, that's what I want to know. The 5 items, well, there's really 7, but the 5 initial items, is there going to be some type of identification to what falls within this pool?
Yes. Just
Oh,
like,
okay.
well, because that determines how much you need to put in there. So you meet your requirements that are needed in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and so on. So that's how it's built up, just like the reserve study, that spreadsheet that was spent out, that was spread out.
You'll get a spreadsheet with the budget for the reserves separately.
I don't think you're understanding me, but that's right, I don't want to hold up the meeting. I don't want to hold up the meeting. Go ahead.
Don, you have anything else, anybody else?
Yeah, you were saying that we're slightly under budget. Could you tell us where we're under budget?
I don't know if you want to listen. Why don't you come after the meeting and go through the specific line items? It's $9,401. And it's little pieces throughout the budget action. Okay?
Anything else, Mark?
You done?
Okay, the next one, is the hockey board, Corky.
Today, we've only received 47 applications for changes to the community.
I'm sorry, how many? 47?
47. And of those 47, we've approved 44, and we've denied 3 of them. And also, I'd like to thank my ARC members who are here, and the rest of them I would thank personally for doing a fine job and working hard, trying to get the doors, the paint colors, and everything together for the community. And I hope we can move forward and make this place a lot nicer looking. So with that, that's all I have to report right now.
Okay. Just for everybody's information, you know, Corky spent a lot of time putting together a book that shows the doors, you know, type of glass that you can get and so forth. The book is about that thick, and it's up at Pinnacle now.
There's a book at Pinnacle as well, yes.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to change their doors, you can go up to Pinnacle, take a look at the book and select the ones that were approved to be installed in the Vineyards. So I want to thank you, because that was a lot of work.
Well, just also to tell them too, if you're interested in changing the doors, please follow the procedures that are in the rules, because the door company will not sell you your door until they have some approval from us. Because of the significance in the hurricane restrictions, that's the only reason.
I believe you also need a permit, right?
Yeah, they have to permit them as well. And the doors, pricing includes installation and removal of the old ones. So,
Just for clarity's sake, could you just identify who's on your ARC committee
on
currently?
my art committee, myself, Jack Vanek, Linda Tina, Ron Parrish, and Barbara Hazard.
Okay, thank you, Corky. Okay, we had a line item here for the governance report. Peter was here to speak to that. But I know I seen an email from Hillary, something like, I don't know, 79 violations. What has it gone out over a period?
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Mostly about roofs.
And right now, as of yesterday, I received an email from Hillary, there's still 20 violations open. But a lot of the violations, we got requests from the homeowner to, you know, to say that, hey, we understand this, but we have it scheduled to be done the first week in November, you know. So about 15 of them, but we have those from the homeowner saying they're going to take care of it in a period of time, which is okay as long as we follow up with it.
John, could I just make one recommendation when it comes to the roofs? That the letters go out after the rainy season, because to send them out during this, you know, our summers with the rainy season, there's just so much debris that comes back onto the roofs, that possibly the inspections start, you know, in season.
I don't think that we should do that, because, I mean, it means that we have to define a period of time where there will not be any inspection.
Yeah.
It's going to be a problem, because that's part of the rules and regulations.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you. You know, it's kind of tough to do. And mold is mold.
I mean, if somebody has a problem that they cannot, I mean, send a letter explaining that they are going to fix it, you know, it's not going that we are going to do anything about it or anything. If, you know, if somebody explains that they are in the process of cleaning the roof or whatever, you know, I think it's because setting up a specific amount of time, I mean, from what time to what time do you want this work to be done?
Well, I say that because there are snowbirds here, you know? And a lot of times when these letters go out, they're relying on their contractor to do the job because they're not here to inspect it. You know, they're just complying with your letters. And again, with the rainy season, I've seen it. I've seen where it blows and it gets dirty again and all the effort that goes into that. Sometimes, if you do it in the beginning of the season, the roofs look terrible by the time November comes.
All this, the whole year is gonna be like that.
Yes.
The whole year is gonna be like that. I mean, I don't see, I really don't think that.
We have to do, you know.
Well, you know, some of those services actually, every 6 months, there's a I actually do that. You know, every 6 months they come and they do a whole new thing for it. So it's always.
That is
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm looking into that myself.
And that would forego the expense of actually letting it go and then letting it, you know, having to start from scratch.
That's right, we do that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we do, it's every 6 months.
Right,
And a
I
lot
know.
of people do that. If somebody receives a letter about a moldy roof, and they call Pinnacle and say, I will be back in a month and a half, we allow them to wait till they come back.
Yeah. And
All you have
that
to
counts
do-
quite a bit. That counts quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think the inspection should be ongoing
Yeah.
and not a particular time frame. No one wants to look at a dirty roof for 9 months, nor do they want to look at unkempt condition or trash cans or something. Keep
Yeah,
the inspections
they
going.
do, Pinnacle does do the inspections.
I'm just wondering, it's a sidebar, but what happened to the TV?
Light.
Oh,
Lightning? Really?
Right.
Wow.
What happened to it?
lightning.
Lightning.
Our houses are lightning rods.
Wow.
We also lost a compressor, one of the air conditioners.
Right.
At the same time. We have a claim with the insurance company.
You know, just because you brought that up, I got hit by lightning a couple of years ago. And I had them put a special box on the side of my house that actually will, if the lightning hits, it'll take that, the box will take the hit, it'll blow the hell out of the box, but it won't touch your house at all.
That's the FPL, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
FPL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I got a private one, because they'll replace it. I didn't do the
I figured you
FPL.
would.
But yeah. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, FPL offers that for
Yeah.
homes.
yeah.
No.
You know, in the future, and I think it's $10 a month.
Yes, it
And they
is,
put, yeah.
it is. Maybe we'll look into it.
Look into it.
Yeah, we will.
Ellen, that's supposed to guarantee your whole electrical system in your
Right.
house. Because they're only responsible from your meter can to the street. FPL is anything inside you're responsible for. This way, it assures your interior is covered through FPL.
Right.
Because they're protecting your home.
The refrigerator was the big thing.
What's the cost of that?
She's $10 a month.
$10 a month.
They give you the box, and it's $10 a month.
Yeah, it's like this ring they put on your meter.
Oh, I should let you know.
I don't have a
that
problem
when
calling
it-
and seeing for
Yeah.
commercial vendors how it works, to see if it's any different.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
I'll be happy to
I
do
can,
that.
I can just tell you that when it hit mine, it blew out my refrigerator. We pretty much all have the same refrigerators. They're
Yep.
expensive, and I think you should all know that that's a cheaper solution because that digital panel inside the refrigerator that works the whole refrigerator, you cannot get at all. The plants in Japan, it was hit with that, radiation. There's not one part. What they'll do is they'll make you take it out of your refrigerator, the tech will come out, they will take that, send it to Chicago, they'll refurbish it, so your refrigerator will be out 2 to 3 weeks at best before they bring it back.
And it's just refurbished, it's not.
It's just refurbished, correct. So,
Let's look into it.
Yeah, that's,
Dawn, you probably have to look into it.
Right, that's what I'm concerned about.
John, make a note, put that in.
Budget, $10 a month.
All right,
I'll call you when I get a good figure.
There goes your service.
Next item is the landscape report. Ingeborg?
project up front, but things are growing, and we had actually recently met to look for the community, what other projects need to be taken care of, and we've actually identified 5 major areas that will need some attention in the near future. And we will be sending out bids and basically for prices and also designs. We will make choices on those bids by the type of plants they're putting in, because we want hardy plants with some color and basically low maintenance. And once that's happening, we'll go ahead as far as the money goes.
Ms. Lee, can you identify the 5 areas?
Yes, I can. They're not necessarily exactly prioritized at this point. We might make some changes. The back gate, the center island in the front, clubhouse has actually 2 areas over here, and along the fence. There are big holes in these, it looks terrible back there. And then on California outside. But that's the last of all of them.
Can I ask you, along Kashmir where those hedges were chopped down, which is basically, what's happening with those?
Well, they're growing back, and Tim is periodically trimming the top to make them come even, and they're filling out pretty nicely.
Well, I can tell you that they're really not. What's filling out is there's a pervasive weed that is growing, a vine weed, choking them to death all throughout that hedge. What you're seeing grow is not the hedge, you're seeing those vines. Because
I know Tim had actually taken those vines or worked on that area to take them out several months ago.
But they're not.
Well, we need to maybe tell him again to go through it. I
We
don't
were
know what
just
type of
back there, and it's
vines
actually choking them, it's just pervasive as anything, along all of them.
Thank you, if you want, I think we should walk back and look.
Yeah.
and look at it and
Yeah.
see if something maybe,
And maybe we could meet Tim back.
See, the problem is, just like we had out front with the ferns, you really almost have to treat the soil for some of this stuff, because some of these things will keep coming back. And you're wasting your money putting beautiful plants in there because they get choked out. So basically, a vine should not be that type of plant. That should definitely we should be able to control that. But like those ferns, we had no other option but to take
Oh, I don't mean
everything
the
out.
ferns, but those vines, if they kept up on them, they wouldn't be there. Trust
So
me,
we need to
when you
tell him.
just go out and look at them, you'll see.
We don't tell him every month to trim back there because we want the new sprouts to come up and get healthy, and they are filling out because there were huge holes in there before, and there was no light coming to the center. Now they are. They don't look as even as the older ones right behind your house, but they will eventually get there.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to tell you, because I had to stop at the house, I think
She surprised me.
that bougainvillea, that weeping bougainvillea when we come in now is just a pure wizard. It's exquisite, I love watching it, and the walls are filling out. But last year I brought this up while we were talking about a budget, that I said we're 10 years old now, we're 11 or so. And everybody that does their landscaping knows you have to tear it out down here. It gets lanky,
Well, you can look out there, what's happening to that hedge.
they get lanky, they die.
Yeah.
So what provision when we do the budget, because now this has to be a line item that it does get
Well, I think
funded.
it has been for the last couple of years for
Yeah, we
sure.
have a line item.
To
But it's
amply
limited.
address this, because this really is going to now over the next 5-6 years, we're gonna have to change
It's
that.
actually a continuous job, because by the time you're finished with the last project, the other project, the first project is 10 years old, so it is a slow progress. It's not like when you build a community, everything is brand new, and you have nothing to take care of. This will be probably a continuous project for the
But I do love the front.
That's all I have.
Ingeborg, how many people are on your committee and who are they,
The
please?
three. The three are Jane Manick, Linda, and myself.
Okay, thank you.
It's not a committee.
I'm sorry?
It's not a committee. We're just a group.
Volunteers.
Okay, thank you.
The question I have too, I was reading through, there's some sort of fungus on a specific home
Oh,
you
yeah.
had talked about.
Yes,
And I was just wanting to see if there's an update on that.
Jack probably has an update. He dealt with the university.
Yeah, I went to Jack Panic 907. I went to Anita Neal, who's the director at the USDA University of Florida, and took specimens from the, it's called Ganoderma, and I took some specimens from a palm that had it at 903.
Okay.
And she did identify, she said, yes, it is. And we also had Tim Dahlia look at it, but he thought it was also when I took it up. She said, yes, it is. And once that is on a palm, it actually permeates the ground, and you cannot replace it with another palm. There's no palm that is resistant to that, so you have to replace it with another type of plant. As far as we know, and I talked to Tim, what's today, Saturday, I think I talked to him Thursday, and he checked throughout the neighborhood to see if there was any other problems. There's another fungus on two palms toward the Heatherwood and Grand Reserve corner there by Steffels. Steffels is one of them, and then there's another one 2 doors down. But that's not the Ganoderma. That's a different type. We only have one home that had the Ganoderma. That's 903. Those palms have been removed, and the base, the root structure, had some Ganoderma on it, which I cut off according to Anita. She said you just cut it off with basically an X-Acto knife to get all of it, and took the specimens up to her. So that's where we stand right now.
There was one other house. That house across from.
928.
They lost that tree also.
But they had that professionally removed.
Well, yes.
Doors working closed.
Mr. Bennett, am I correct that you authored this rule that says that anything that is removed has to be replaced with something similar? In this case, obviously, that wouldn't work, so that rule is a problem. It's problematic now, so what are we going to do about that?
It has to be.
Actually, it just says it has to be, you have to have a certain number of palm trees. I think that was the original.
Well, actually, it said that if anything was removed, that it must be replaced with something, with a similar, like
That's
or
true.
similar.
That's true.
So that's problematic.
But in this case, we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's exactly.
So they're gonna have to replace it with
Something else.
a bush, plant.
Yeah, and actually, we got recommendations from Anita. I think there was four or five different things that she suggested.
That can go back into
That can go back into the.
I'm just saying that if people think that that's
That's
the
been
rule,
replaced with a hardwood tree.
then they're
That's
trying to
the
follow
only
the
thing
rule, but that rule won't apply to
We
this.
just have to deal with several.
It's not a palm, that's for sure.
We told the people they should not put another palm tree in that space.
No.
I believe that soil was bad for like 2-3 years at least, at the minimum.
I don't know about 2 or 3, she said.
What,
You just can't put another one in, so.
did they explain to you how it spreads or
Spores.
spores? So,
It's airborne.
you know, that brings up a good question regarding landscaping, or the landscaping company, regardless of what landscaping company, but when they bring their trucks in, and they bring those trucks loaded with palms from other communities, and they're running through the neighborhood, if there are spores on those are going to be flailing off the truck. Of course, they're microscopic, you don't see them, but they're there, and that could be affecting everyone's trees as they pass by. The hedge trimming equipment that they use could be contaminated with that. It's a serious issue, because when you start to look at replacing palm trees or having to get rid of palm trees, it's going to be a very expensive endeavor for all the homeowners. So maybe some safeguards or some protocols need to be put in place for that.
There are protocols in place.
John, according to
They wash their equipment before it comes on site, and they sterilize their cutting tape with alcohol.
And we also, that would be the landscape maintenance people, but this is why we prefer, if you're going to have landscaping done, you hire a knowledgeable landscaper who has worked in the area or who is familiar with just what you're talking about, spreading infection from, so all you can do is hope that somebody doesn't bring something in, or that these stores are not mishandled.
Clerk, you have something? All right, we're gonna move on here, because we'll Saturday morning now. Building and grounds, committee, report?
Okay, well, most of my job is already done. We were aware that the TV is gone. That was a 65-inch TV. To replace the LED panel, which was the main component that was burned out, Jetson's cost was $5,800. So you can see how the technology has improved over the years. To replace the TV with a 70-inch, we can spend $1,970, or we could put a 65-inch for around $1,300. These are the new state-of-the-art TVs, 240 megahertz refresh rate rather than the 120 or 60. Or you could cheap out and you could probably do it for less than $1,000. Our insurance has $2,500 deductible. We are reporting the compressor and the TV. Jeff Lack indicated the computer equipment, the cameras have their own surge protectors. They don't appear to be affected. We'll make the claim and let the insurance people, they know what to look for lightning strikes. There's been a lot of strikes here that have taken out a tree, and taken out Al's alarm system and everything. We are going to look into the meter on the surge protector. I don't know if it's going to cost $10 or not. This is technically a commercial building, so it may be more, it may not.
John, would that fall under betterment? Like, would that, like a TV like that? Because it's part of would that be like a betterment thing? Because it's not a normal maintenance item.
Well, it could be looked at as a insurance claim if you replace, if let's assume insurance didn't cover it. You have to replace it, not repairs. You should probably come out of reserves.
Right, betterment?
Why do we need a TV here? Because no one in this community has real access to this clubhouse except for board members and friends.
No, that's not true. Everybody has access. All you gotta do is pick up the phone, call Judy or one of the... That's a strictly a security issue.
What are we securing?
Because if you leave those doors open, anybody can come in, and especially children, can come in the door and open that door and go into the pool area.
These doors don't lock.
They don't lock from the inside.
Well,
So that's a liability in itself. From what I understand, it has been noted that children from the, and I'm not saying they're bad kids, but they come in, they go in the clubhouse, they raid the refrigerator, they call the babies to the clubhouse. This is the only reason why they are locked. Not to minimize access to it, because everybody does have access. Just pick up the phone. I like to use the clubhouse. I want to go to the clubhouse. I want to watch the TV, which personally I think is useless. The thing has probably been used.
I agree.
Twice in the last 10 years.
However, but I think we have to replace it because it was here.
I think so.
I don't think we have a choice.
But it's a liability issue. That's all it is. It's why the doors are locked.
I live down the road.
It's plain and
Somebody
simple.
wants to.
Well, when
come,
someone books the clubhouse for a party.
Like
or
there's
event-
one here today, it's okay.
Okay, yeah. Isn't that the same liability?
They sign a waiver and have it notarized that states they are taking responsibility for the clubhouse for this period of time. That, let's say, exonerates or it puts the burden on them. They are responsible.
Even without the waiver, I will tell you, just knowing who's in here helps. You're never going to absolutely get rid of all the risk, but you're trying to minimize it. And just like you were talking about the protocols before landscaping, you try to put in some protocols to minimize getting kids hurt out there. I can tell you from other communities I represent, you get teenage kids that will come in and sometimes just destroy your clubhouse. So you just try to minimize it.
Corky, you're a fire guy, right? Fire department? But there needs to be, like, let's say in this room, an ingress and egress, two separate.
Yes.
It does, yeah.
Even in your home.
Yeah.
If you got one door in your bedroom, you gotta have an egress window to get out of the house. It's gotta meet a certain restriction.
I'm sorry. Not only did they get into the refrigerator, which is, that's not a big thing, what are they taking? Soda, water, not a big thing. But they messed with the air conditioner in there. We came in, it was, I had pool duty, came in one night and went, ooh, it's chilly in here. And so I looked, they had turned it down to 43. Now, if for some unknown reason I hadn't shown up that night, that would have been all night long, and I would have said, you probably would have totally messed up the air conditioning. So it's not, I mean, it is, the biggest thing is the liability for the kids, because that's what was happening. We'd leave it open, and the kids wouldn't use a fob to go, and I'm talking the ones that were 16, you know, that could legally go in there. They'd go in that way, and that same night, I found the door open, and little kid had just, I mean, you think about it, I do anyway, some kid could have just walked away from their mom and dad, and, you know, from the house, and come up here, ooh, the pool is there, found a way to get in and everything. I mean,
You know, I think that,
Why don't we just lock the doors?
I think that,
You can't lock those.
You cannot lock the door.
Well, they can go out through the bathroom.
you know,
You're not locking this thing out. They could go through the bathroom, but just put a latch on this thing. Except, you know, I don't see why it has to be there when you got the bathroom right there. And you can go out that way.
This is the way the clubhouse is, and if this is the rule, if this is the way we're gonna operate, I mean,
Okay.
I don't think too many people object, you know, because they know they just have to pick up the phone and call Judy.
I don't understand how they can really come to us. I'm available to come up here all the time.
I watch it home. You can come in, but I don't think the neighbors, I mean,
Okay, can I finish my?
All right.
Do you need a motion to approve buying TV if necessary?
No.
You tell me what you want to do with TV. It's a board decision.
I think we gotta wait till we hear from the insurance shop.
That may be a prudent decision because that may determine what you spend on TV.
Regardless, or if we get it.
If you get a TV. You know, that's not my fault. If we actually have touch-up paint, we could touch that up and it'll look good without
Put a
TV.
nice picture over it.
Okay, pedestrian gates. We got new gates at the front towers and at the rear entrance. No city permits were required. We needed a services district permit to extend the back fence, which we got. We extended the back fence down to the water line at the rear. The gates, one front gate and one back gate has a 5-digit keypad on it. We have ADA handles on their side. I think they look nice.
I don't know, just for your education, unless you already know this, but when you're on the outside of the gate, the back gate, and you come to that, you can just lean right over it and open it up
From the inside.
from the inside. You could be on the outside, just reach over it, and open it
I
up.
tried that and couldn't get to it.
Oh, no, you can't.
You can.
Yeah, I did it.
even with a
Quite
keypad.
easily.
Yeah, you go on the other side, you reach over it like this,
Right.
and just pull up the
So maybe we
handle.
can make it.
Because it's not that high.
I guess I thought we could keep.
Yeah, well, no, it's the outside. The inside has. Go right over the top, like this. Like right, the gate's only this high. The gate's not as high as this one.
Gates they put in, the gates are.
In the back.
The gate's on the back gate.
Okay, just check.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not lying. Just check.
Do you work?
I would like to say that even the front ones which are higher, all you have to do is crawl under the big gate and you get through.
If it keeps children out.
You can get in no matter what. I have policemen say, you think you're secure.
No. If it keeps the kids out. Right, and you turn.
All right, John, all right. John, go ahead, sir.
All right.
They are very nice.
That's the report.
That's it?
If I could just ask one question, just as I asked Mr. Courtney, to identify clarify who the members of the Buildings and Grounds Committee are?
Corky is on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Jack Vance on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Charlie is on, Lapel is on the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Pete Rowland, and Dave Winter, when they can make it. We have a big committee, we usually end up with 3 people. People have jobs, people travel, but we look at it, we get together, we review the bids.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Most of you, or I guess all of you, have received a unanimous letter.
Anonymous.
Anonymous letter, unsigned by the individuals that wrote it. And I think what's disturbing, to this board is that there are some items in here that are just not true. And we take exception, calling us thieves, stealing money.
Do we have a copy of that?
Should have. Excuse me. In inferring, that the sheriff's department there's an ongoing investigation going on, is simply not true. We've contacted, we've talked to the sheriff's department, there never was, and there is not any kind of an investigation going on against the Vineyards. And I can go on and on, but I'm not. We take exception, I'm offended, I'm not a goddamn thief, never was. I retired as a senior vice president for a $4 billion company. I never stole a dime in my life. And I don't think that any of these professional people here would do such a thing. So, we're going to do something about this. We are not going to sit idly by and be slandered by any individual or the individuals that wrote this.
Can you tell us what in there is slander stuff? Because I don't have it in front of us.
The individuals, let me say something. The people who wrote this are cowards. Cowards because they didn't sign the letter. And it's highly offended to me, the way they wrote it. There's a bunch of lies there. Like if I was going to steal money, I haven't gotten a single dollar from this place.
Why don't you calm down, Dr. Ori?
You shut up.
Beg your pardon?
You shut up now. I'm talking now.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Time out.
You're a professional?
Time out.
That match.
Time out.
Pretty
Everybody
abusive of you, Mr.
Excuse
Vice
me.
President.
Everybody take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath.
I'm not addressing you.
Okay?
And this man addressed me inappropriately.
All right.
That's it.
Do we have to take a recess again?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to the attorney.
No, I'm not going to be calling. We're going to take a recess, let everybody calm down
Yep.
if we need to.
Well,
And
your
everybody-
board needs to calm down. Your vice president needs to
Brian,
calm
John's going to take
down.
control.
Rick,
All right, enough is enough. We take exception to it, okay? I understand some people are really emotionally hurt by this. I am, So we're going to do something about it. We are not going to sit idly by and be slandered like this. We don't get paid for this job. I retired. I want to enjoy my life. I don't need this BS. Because this is all this is BS. And the word needs to go out to the community that is BS. So, we're going to do something about it. Okay, Linda, go ahead.
We are not going to allow ourselves or our volunteers to be harassed or maligned. For most of us, this is a nice community, and we plan to keep it that way. I make a motion to authorize our attorney to investigate and pursue legal action against the authors of September 2014 letter to residents as discussed with legal counsel.
Linda, one question?
There's a motion here.
Okay. One question, should the...
No.
Motion on the table.
Okay.
Motion on the table.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay. Linda, should there be a cap on how much is expended on behalf of the association because 5 people were offended? I take offense with
I
this.
can answer that.
The board is offended, there's other people, like that you can't sell.
Okay, please. Please, that's all I want to know. Is there going to be a cap on what's expended? Because these things go on for years.
Right now, it's all under investigation. We don't have a cap in place, but those are just decisions that are being made by the board of the investigation.
Okay, real quick, what are we paying per hour for the investigation?
Just depends, some of these people are helping out, doing the free of their time. Then you pay your attorney if I'm investigating.
Well, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
My hourly rate is $225 an hour.
So we're going to pay you $225 an hour to investigate.
Yes.
Thank you.
We need to put this to rest. Once and for all.
And maybe the people who go to
You know?
the pay.
By the way, John, let me ask, let me ask,
Maybe the people who authored the letter would have to
Don,
pay
that's
somebody.
now, you talk about expense money going to lawyers to clear this up.
To investigate. To investigate.
That letter is damning from a property standpoint, and your evaluations are eventually going to go down, and people are not going to either serve on this board or want to move into this place.
People.
This is crazy stuff going on.
People have.
And you have to realize that is more damaging than paying $10,000 in legal fee to bring this to a close.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, yes, it is.
All of you individually.
We made a motion, we approved it, we're moving forward.
Okay, I just want to go on record.
You don't have, we can go on record.
I have issue with the expenditure of my fees that aren't capped for the purpose of you pursuing something because you were offended when you hold a public position.
This is swearing.
Take it up
That's
personally.
a difference.
Take it up personally.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Why personally, who wrote
Why don't they stand up?
it? Who wrote
You tell me you're going to have an investigation.
We know one person who's involved in it, so if you want to keep it on.
That's not right. We don't want to
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Why didn't we stand up?
You know? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the annual sidewalk swales, the power wash that needs to be desperately done. John?
Okay, we took a different approach this year, because building and ground actually needs help doing all the stuff that we're doing. We asked Pinnacle to get sidewalk bids for us, pressure washing. They did that, they went out, looked at people who did the other communities, they got 4 bids. What we didn't do, and I'll have to take the blame for it, is I didn't sit down first and go over the scope of work. So we got 4 bids in, 2 we had to send back for clarification. 1, I had to reject outright because that bidder was proposing to clean the sidewalks with his power washer and a trailer with a 100-gallon water tank, which he said he would fill up at our spigot. Bid number 2 was rejected because the person did not meet the specs as far as cleaning the swales and did not specify what the chemicals he was going to use would be. Bid number 3 was from a valid concern, someone who does work here in the neighborhood. Their bid was $8,000 plus the cost of the water. They said we would have to get a meter from the city, which connects to a fire hydrant and runs, we estimated $300 to $500 of water. The 4th bid was also a valid contractor who has done work in the Vineyards.
His bid was $7,975, and he would provide the water with his own meter. Based on that, I recommend the fourth bidder be approved for the power washing.
And who would that be?
Business with this,
Pardon me?
we've done business with this person.
We have.
Who?
I
And who
did
is
not
that
mention
person?
the names at all, so it wouldn't skew your decision. The names, we had 4 bidders. We had Statewide Cleaning and Maintenance, we had See the Difference Inc., we had, what's Mickey's?
All around power wash?
All Around Power Wash, and we had Mobile Wash.
John?
You recommend what?
I recommend Mobile Wash at $7,975, including the water.
Don, how much do we have budgeted for that?
I'm trying to find it here, I think it's $7,700.
How much?
77.
7,700.
That was probably last year's price?
That's on
2014.
Like as you said, we have money to cover it,
Yes,
correct?
we did.
All right.
I make a motion to accept the bid from Mobile Wash to do the annual cleaning of sidewalks, swales, front entrance.
I second.
All in favor?
Uh,
John, the only thing I'd like to know, I mean, I think last year, Judy, if I'm not mistaken, we actually were behind. We did it after Thanksgiving, I think.
We were, because
We need that done before the holidays.
We need it done
John?
yesterday.
No, if you're awarded it, Pinnacle will notify
I
them.
mean, that's when a lot of people come down, you know,
Yeah.
and they bring their families and whatever.
We've been doing it in November.
Okay, so let's just make sure that it's done, let's just make sure that it's done before the holidays.
As soon as
Thanksgiving.
possible.
Okay. And, Gail,
Yeah.
for your official file,
Good.
4 bids.
Thank you.
Okay, so that kind of about wraps it up. Does anybody have any other comments? Judy?
is this the resident comment time?
You could comment.
Okay. I don't want to speak out of turn. First of all, I want to thank the board for everything they do, Gail, Jacob. And I want to also tell the landscape group, because they're not a committee, from what I just understood. And the board, Jenny and Linda, the great job that they are doing in this community. We have friends that own a home in this community that live over in Fort Myers. And they come over a couple times a year because they do rent their house out, and they come over just to check it and everything. And of course, we see them, we talk to them a lot. They always make the comment how beautiful it is to drive into this community and see how great it looks and how well kept it is and everything. And they live in a very, very nice community over there, and they said, it doesn't compare, doesn't compare. Just saying.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's not just us, a lot of the residents do hand trimming, they pull weeds, when people walk, sometimes they have bags, they pick up trash when they walk, doing the welcome to the new people who come in, almost every one of them, almost every one of those new people who bought homes this year has told us they drove through and they liked the way it looked, curvy. It struck them. Some of them said they told their realtor, don't look anywhere else, find me a home in here. So it makes a difference. So thanks for helping us keep our community pristine. Yes.
I'm just a homeowner. I'm not on the board.
That's okay.
Okay? But I thought that letter was absolutely, and she said BS is a crime name. It was absolutely not warranted, unnecessary. So whatever you can do, I support you 100%, because that kind of crap has got to stop.
Thanks.
Okay, can I make a comment with how nice it is outside? The pet owners here, I want to say, the pet owners all step up, that you don't see pet debris like you do on other you know, other, you know, so I want to thank all the pet owners and people that pick up other people's pet owners, but they keep the streets very clean.
Thank you. All right, I vote that the meeting be adjourned.
Thank you.